we think the problem that we have as Zimbabwe has its roots in Britain, from the signing of the Royal Charter that authorized the occupation of this country by British citizens on behalf of Her Majesty, that authorized the colonization of this country. This is where our problems started. Of course, we had problems even before, but this were domestic and internal. And even other foreign people that had come before, they had not come to settle. They were just maybe people that were passing through or looting and going. But the Royal Charter then gave permission to British people to come and settle, set up a government in southern Rhodesia, which is Zimbabwe today. And that's where our problem started. When these people came, they advertised on the stock exchange our land, our wealth, our economy, so that the later people that came purely to take over our economy. And they did this for close to 100 years. Our ancestors were defeated, ruthlessly killed, and some have got their heads in Europe today. The Chingairas, the Mashayamom, and many others have their heads in Europe taken as trophies by the white colonial settler regime. Political independence, after the Lancaster House negotiations, there were conditions that we will not talk about the land issue or do anything about the land until after 10 years, and that we followed. But then when we tried now to re-engage the British for them to fulfill the promises that they had promised under Margaret Thatcher, which was well known by the Queen, because it is the Queen who sent Lord Solms. It is the Queen who sent his child, Prince Charles, to come and hand over the reins of this country to us. So she was involved. And we are saying, here we are today, the same British government that reneged on its promises, that had promised to provide finances to buy back the land from the white colonial settlers so that it could be distributed to the black owners, refused under Blair. And what else could we do? Because we had gone for a brutal war that claimed millions of lives, destroyed property for the sake of having our land back. And when the negotiations said we could not do that within the first 10 years, we accepted, because we knew eventually 10 years were going to elapse, and would now ask the British government to hand over our land or help us to acquire our land back. But they did not want the responsibility, and this is where our problem started. So the Queen cannot pretend she doesn't know. And we are under sanctions today as we speak. This economy has been devastated because of the economic sanctions imposed at the request of Tony Blair and the British government. And we are saying it is only morally correct for the Queen, before she leaves office, or even when she is in office, to call the British government to order. Because it is not entirely the British government then that authorized the colonization of this country. It is the monarch that did that. And they should see through our problems to the end, through to the end, so that it will be morally right for the Queen to one day stand up and say, please remove sanctions on Zimbabwe because we caused the problems that are in Zimbabwe today. And my plea on behalf of the commissariat, of course, every Zimbabwean is to say, please, Queen, can you look at our problems and solve the Zimbabwe problems once and for all? Because we think, and they are very convinced that because the other thing that the Queen must is to uphold godliness.